Okay, this hour we'll talk about what is protocol and a specific technology called ADSL. So for computer networks, okay, device and device need to communicate with each other, but they need to follow certain rules. Of course, those rules are defined by human beings, but they are governed by protocols. There are several different part of protocols human beings need to define. The first one is the format. Okay, as we know, a message, a digital message, is made by zero and ones, right? So when you send a message from one hand to the other hand, the other side, you have to define how many bits or how many bytes is in this message, and what is the definition of the first bit or first byte, or the second bit or the second byte. Okay, for example, you can have a data field, okay, and its length is, for example, 8 bytes, and this 8 byte is integer, and the integer indicates the receiver should do something like send an email or something. So you have to specify how long is the first field, second field, third field, and so on and so forth. And how do you read those data field? It should be, for example, an integer or a decimal number, or it is a floating point, or it is alphabetic characters. So you have to define the format of a message. The second thing is the order of messages sent and received among the network entities. For example, when you send a message type, okay, for example, type A from the sender to the receiver, and after the receiver receives such kind of type A message, and it will respond type B message, and then maybe again the other side receive the type B message and send type C message, and so on and so forth, something like that. You have to define a process or a rule that how did you send a request or reply messages to the other side. So you have to define the order of the messages. Okay, and the third thing is the actions taken on message transmission or receipt. For example, when you receive a message, for example, a type A message, and you have to, for example, turn off your computer, okay, or you receive a type B message, the operating system should, for example, send an email out, something like that. You have to define what actions you should do when you receive certain type of message, or what message you should reply when you receive certain messages. So protocol should define format and order of the messages and the actions taken when messages received. Okay, so of course we will talk about several different application layer protocols, some other protocols in the later chapter. So that is just a brief introduction, and you can simply just take a look at the human protocol and computer network protocol. Okay, it's very similar. Okay, we'll introduce the network edge, including the host, access network, and the physical media. So as we mentioned before, we have network edge, which is the devices, the network links, which is nearby your iPad, your tablet, your cell phone, your laptop, PC. They're all devices that you can touch, right? And we have several different communication links like fiber, like copper, like Wi-Fi, okay? And there's an important terminology that is client and server. Okay, it's right here, client and server. Okay. Although those machines are devices that are hosts, but sometimes they play different roles. Okay, and usually, okay, I say usually is not a definition, but usually when two communication peers would like to send messages to each other, the very first message should be sent by what we call client. Okay? The people, the devices who send the first message is client, and the host who received the first message is what we call server. It is just a terminology, okay? But you have to remember what is the difference between client and server, okay? The people who send the first message is client, and the other one is server, okay? So we have wired and wireless communication links, okay? And we have network core, we have a lot of routers, we have talked about it in the previous lecture, okay? So there's another terminology we'd like to talk about. It's called edge router. As we mentioned before, several different small networks connect with each other, right? So they rely on the last mile and the ISP to connect all networks together. So there should be one device which is responsible for connected to the last mile. Okay, usually it is a router, so we call it edge router because it is at the edge of the small networks. Okay, so in the home network we have a router, or sometimes we call it gateway router. Okay, but because it acts as a gateway, so that every traffic, every message will pass through the gateway router or the edge router and to the internet or from the internet. Okay, and of course there are several different last mile technologies. So first, we'd like to talk about a very well-known, very popular access network, which is called DSL, Digital Subscriber Line. And usually we use another word, which is ADSL. A stands for asymmetric. Okay, I believe you already know that when you go to an ISP company and you subscribe some services, usually they will give you two numbers. Okay, like this. Okay, there's a slash right here, and the first one is the download speed. Right, that means 24 megabits per second, and this one is the upload speed, which is sometimes much less than the download speed. That is because when, for example, when you at home, usually you download a lot of content or messages from the internet. For example, you can watch YouTube videos, Netflix videos, or receiving emails. But usually, I say usually, you only need a smaller upload speed, because you usually we don't upload very large amount of content or messages from our home to the internet. So usually we need a bigger, larger download speed. Okay, so that is the reason why we call it asymmetric. Okay, so you have to think about one thing, that in order to, okay, that is the last mile. Okay, in order to build those last mile infrastructure, there should be some cable or some line between your home network and the ISP, right? And I'm not sure if you know how many households in Taiwan. I think there is more than 8 million households in Taiwan. That means those 8 million households need 8 million last mile cables. So those cables need to connect your home, your house to the ISP. And in DSL, the entity is called central office. There should be ISP will have several central offices for example, in Taiwan, different cities, different areas. So if you would like to subscribe to DSL services, and you have to call the ISP, and they will help you to set up the last mile from your home to the nearest central office. Okay, and it costs a lot because you need to have a dedicated line from your home to the central office. Okay, so think about one thing. If we would like to rely on some old technology, what is the most promising technology we can use if we would like to subscribe DSL? And that is phone line. Telephone is invented in, I think, more than 100 years ago. So from that old time, for example, in Taiwan, we have a lot of old buildings, which is more than 50 or 60 years old. So, but basically those house, okay, those apartment, they do have phone line installed in the building. So such kind of infrastructure is very nice because we don't have to rebuild such kind of cables from your home to the central offices. So in early days, since those phone line is available, so we use the phone line as the underlying cables to build such kind of the DSL services. But you have to think about an important thing is that on the phone line, okay, what is the purpose of telephone? Voice communication, right? So the voice is a analog. It's right here. It is an analog signal. So the phone line can transmit analog data, okay? But as you know, in digital world, in our PC, our data is digital data, right? So they're quite different kind of signals. So if you would like to subscribe DSL, you need to have a very specific devices, which is called a modem. It's right here. Modem is the is modulator and demodulator. Okay, modem has a specific chip that can convert analog signal and digital signal. Okay, so you need a DSL modem to do such kind of conversion. Okay, since the phone line originally is analog device. Okay, so but at the right hand side, ISPs, okay, those computer networks, they are digital as well. So at the right hand side, we have another devices which is called DSL access multiplexer. Okay, so you can draw a picture like this. So on the upper side, okay, take a look at the red line. We have phone, we have a phone line right here, and we have a splitter. Splitter can split, duplicate the signal on the phone line. So take a look at the red, okay? The voice signal still goes to the phone network, the traditional phone network. So you can make a call, landline call, by using the red line, because there indeed has a red a line between your phone and the central office and the phone network, and the voice signal can go through the red line to your household. Okay, so it is exactly the same as what we did in the previous day. Okay, and take a look at the other one is the orange one. Okay, there are some digital data right here. Okay, from the ISP, from Netflix server, from your email server, and when the messages, okay, digital messages comes to the DSL SS multiplexer, okay, the multiplexer will convert the orange digital signal to analog signal, which is the, for example, the green one. And after that, okay, when the digital message has been converted to the analog signal, the analog signal will pass through the last mile, which is the phone line, to your household, and pass through the splitter. A splitter will pass it to the DSL modem, and the DSL modem can convert those analog signal back to the digital signal, and your PC can receive such kind of digital signal, so you can correctly demodulate the signal. That is how different types of signal being processed, being converted by the DSL modem and the DSL SS multiplexer. The reason why we need to do such kind of conversion is that phone line was and or is can only carry analog signal, and those phone lines already installed in our household and our city. So we simply just use those existing infrastructure to help us to build the last mile. Okay, so that is how digital subscriber line works. And in the DSL multiplexer and the modem, okay, take a look at this, okay. We know the analog signal is a wave, okay? It's like the light wave, the sound wave, the water wave, okay? Those waves can be combined together, okay? So for those splitter or those modems, okay, those signals, we can use a different frequency. Okay, I can. Because the human voice, the frequency of human voice is between 2 hertz to 2K, 2000 hertz. So basically, when those phone line transmitting analog signal, okay, we can still split the entire we say spectrum, okay, to several different bands, frequency bands. The frequency band between 0 to 4000 hertz, okay, we use this band to transmit voice data, because human voice is between 2K hertz and 2 hertz to 2K hertz, 2000 hertz. Okay, and right here, we further split the entire spectrum into 2 bands. Okay, one is from 4K hertz to 50K hertz, the other is 50K hertz to 1 million hertz. Okay, we use different frequency to transmit download data and upload data. And of course, the width of the frequency band is a little bit different. So the transmission rate of download and upload is a little bit different. And since, as we mentioned, since we use, it is a symmetric DSL, so we have a larger high-speed download, or we say downstream channel. And we have a smaller medium speed upstream channel. Okay, those three different signals will combine together and pass through the phone line from central office to our phone home, or vice versa. Okay, make sure you can you take a look at this picture. Okay, we have digital world and we have analog world. Okay, so let's take some time to take a look some pictures. So in your home, okay, maybe you can find such kind of a box after your gate. Okay, there will be several phone line, okay, in your home. Usually in Taiwan, usually we have at least we have 2 phone lines each apartment, okay, and usually there should be 4 phone lines in each apartment, and those phone lines will go to, I think, the elevator and down to the basement. So the basement should have even more phone line, something like this one. Okay, if you have 10 apartment in one floor, okay, each apartment has 4 phone lines. So one floor has 40 phone line, right? But if you have 10 floors, then there should be 400 phone lines. Okay, all those phone lines will be in your basement. Okay, will be something like that in your basement. So there are some numbers on that slot, phone line slot. Okay, and so let's look a little bit messy. Okay, so a little bit out of phone line, and those phone line will go to the I think the corner of your street, something like this. If you take a look at the I think so that is even worse. Okay, so there should be thousands of phone line will be collected in a box at the corner of your street, and there will be thousands lines, something like that. So it is a mess. It looks very messy. Okay, so after that, those phone line will go to the central office. Usually they are underground. Okay, but I think there will be more than 10,000 of phone line will be collected to from the household to the nearest central office. Okay, so the phone line, the connector of the phone line is called RJ11. Okay, so it has 4 wire in that connector. Also, make sure you notice that. And for the computer network, okay, we have Ethernet. If you know what is Ethernet, Ethernet usually Ethernet has 8 different wire. Okay, so that they are quite different. Okay, and that is the phone splitter. Because you have to receive the analog analog signal from the central office through the phone line. So the analog signal, okay, goes to your household, and you have to split the signal. One part of the signal, which is under 4K hertz, will be sent to the phone, so your phone still works. And the analog signal above 4K hertz will be sent to the modem, and the modem will further convert the analog signal to digital signal. And in the digital signal, there will be two channels, one for download and the other for upload. Okay, so usually you can see such kind of splitter near your ADSL modem. So let's take a look at the modem. So I think that is okay. So for modem, okay, you can see that there is a gray slot at the left hand side. That is the socket for the phone line. So the analog signal goes through the phone line and inject into this slot, right? So the signal comes from here, and look at the yellow slot. Those are Ethernet slot. So those analog signal will be processed in this small box, which is a modem, and modem will convert them to the digital signal. The digital signal comes from this yellow slot from the Ethernet. Okay, so that is the modem. So basically, if you subscribe ADSL services, and you can see such kind of box, and usually they will have something like that. Okay, and the other thing I'd like to share with you is that in current days, usually we don't use ADSL quite often because the speed of ADSL is a little bit slow. So currently we use another kind of technology, but it is almost the same as ADSL. But let me take a look if I can see. Okay, this one, that one. Take a look at this one, this modem. Okay, this modem has 4 Ethernet slots, so that is the digital world. Take a look at this. We have 2 gray slot, and those slot can inject 2 phone lines, right? So that means because phone line is a little bit slow from the perspective of current modern network. So if your household, okay, your home has more than 2 phone lines, the current VDSL technology can use 2 phone lines, okay, and combine the bandwidth of 2 phone lines together. So if one of the phone line can support 100 megabit per second speed, and the other one can provide another 150 megabit per second. So in total, VDSL can provide 300 megabit per second upload and download speed. Okay, so currently, if you are in Taiwan, and we usually the ISP provide video services, and it requires more than 1 phone line. Okay, usually 2, and you can have even more download speed or upload speed by using VDSL because you have more phone line. Okay, you can transmit data from these two phone line. So currently we have VDSL. Okay, so I think we have talked about everything about the DSL technology. And after that, we will talk about cable. Okay, cable. So we stop right here, and we will continue later.